I, Sam, 32M, recently found myself in a difficult situation with my ex-wife Megan, 30F. We were married for 5 years before divorcing 2 years ago. Our story began in college, where we met during an art history class. I was a computer science major, and Megan was studying fine arts. We bonded over our shared love for mixing technology and art, often discussing how we could blend our fields in the future. After graduation, I landed a job as a junior software engineer at a tech startup, while Megan pursued her passion for painting. We got married a year later in a small ceremony surrounded by our closest friends and family. The early years of our marriage were filled with excitement and dreams. We'd spend weekends exploring art galleries, with Megan explaining the nuances of different painting techniques, and evenings where I'd show her the basics of coding, imagining a future where we'd collaborate on digital art projects. Megan started a small online business selling her paintings. It wasn't very profitable, but she was passionate about it. I supported her dream and covered most of our expenses. We bought a cozy house in the suburbs, envisioning it filled with both art and technology, her paintings on the walls and my gadgets in every corner. However, as years passed, the reality of our different career paths began to create tension. My job became more demanding as the startup grew, often requiring late nights and weekends. Megan's art business struggled to take off, leading to frustration and self-doubt. We began arguing more frequently about finances and the time we spent together. The final straw came when I was offered a promotion that would require even more of my time. Megan felt I was prioritizing my career over our relationship, while I felt she didn't understand the pressures I was under to provide for us. After months of couples counseling and heated discussions, we realized we had grown apart and wanted different things from life. We decided to divorce, agreeing it was better to end things amicably than to grow resentful of each other. The divorce wasn't pleasant, but it wasn't terrible either. We both agreed it wasn't working and decided to part ways. We split our assets fairly, with Megan keeping the house we bought together. I agreed to this as I felt bad about her unstable income, and me moving out to an apartment closer to my office. After the divorce, I threw myself into my work. I got the promotion I had been eyeing and my career was going well. I also started exploring new hobbies, joining a local hiking group and taking up photography. It was during one of these hikes that I met Alexis, 29F, a wildlife biologist. We hit it off immediately, bonding over our love for nature and technology. We've been dating for about 6 months now, and things are going great. Megan, on the other hand, continued with her art business and took up a part-time job at a local art gallery to supplement her income. We didn't keep in touch much after the divorce, only communicating when necessary about house-related issues or to exchange pleasantries on birthdays. Last month, Megan called me out of the blue. Her voice sounded strained as she explained that she had lost her part-time job at the art gallery due to budget cuts. Her online business wasn't doing well either, with sales dropping significantly in recent months. She was struggling to pay the mortgage and asked if I could help her out financially for a few months until she found another job. I was taken aback by her request. We hadn't spoken much since the divorce, and I felt it wasn't my responsibility to support her anymore. I politely declined, suggesting she could sell the house and move to a smaller apartment if she was struggling. I even offered to help her find a realtor if she decided to go that route. Megan's response caught me off guard. Her voice rose as she accused me of being heartless. She reminded me of how she had supported me emotionally when I was struggling with work stress during our marriage. She recounted nights when she had stayed up late to listen to me vent about difficult projects or unreasonable clients. She mentioned how she had always believed in my potential and encouraged me to go for promotions, even when I doubted myself. She said she thought we could still be friends and help each other out. Her words brought back memories of the good times we had shared, making me question my decision for a moment. But I quickly reminded myself that we were no longer together, and our lives had taken different paths. I stood my ground and told her that while I appreciated her past support, we were no longer together, and I wasn't comfortable providing financial assistance. I suggested she could look into government assistance programs or ask her family for help. I knew her parents were well off and could probably help if she explained her situation to them. This made Megan even angrier. She started bringing up old issues from our marriage, saying I never truly valued her contributions to our relationship. She accused me of always prioritizing my career over her dreams, saying I had never given her art the respect it deserved. She said I was selfish for not helping her when I was doing well financially, especially since she had sacrificed years of her career to support mine. Her words stung, bringing back memories of our past arguments. I found myself getting defensive, reminding her that I had always supported her art financially, even when it wasn't profitable. I pointed out that I had never asked her to sacrifice her career for mine, and that I had always encouraged her to pursue her passions. The conversation was quickly spiraling into a heated argument reminiscent of our worst days together. I realized this wasn't productive for either of us and decided to end the call. I told Megan I was sorry she was going through a tough time, but I couldn't help her financially. I wished her luck and hung up, feeling a mix of guilt, anger, and sadness. Since that call, I've been replaying the conversation in my mind, wondering if I made the right decision. Some of our mutual friends have reached out, saying I should help Megan as she's going through a tough time. They think I'm being too harsh, especially given our history together. One friend, Tom, 33M, was particularly vocal about it. He reminded me of the time when Megan had nursed me back to health when I had a severe bout of flu, taking time off from her gallery job to look after me. He said that Megan had always been there for me during our marriage, and it was unfair of me to turn my back on her now. These comments have made me question my decision. I can't help but remember the good times we shared, the late-night painting sessions where Megan would teach me brush techniques, the weekends we spent redecorating our house, the support she gave me when I was nervous about big presentations at work. But then I also remember the reasons why we got divorced. The arguments about money, the growing distance between us as we pursued different life paths, the resentment that had built up over years of misunderstandings and unmet expectations. I remind myself that we're no longer in each other's lives for a reason, and that it's not my responsibility to solve her financial problems. I've also been thinking about how this situation might affect my relationship with Alexis. I haven't told her about Megan's call yet, unsure of how she might react. Alexis knows I'm on good terms with Megan, but helping an ex-wife financially is a different matter altogether. So, Reddit, Ida for refusing to help my ex-wife financially after she lost her job? Am I being cold-hearted, or am I right in maintaining boundaries with my ex? I'm truly torn and could use some outside perspective on this situation. Update 1. It's been about a month since my original post, and a lot has happened. I want to thank everyone for their input. It really helped me gain perspective on the situation. After much thought, I decided to stick to my decision of not providing direct financial assistance to Megan. However, I did offer to help her in other ways. I reached out to her and suggested I could help her update her resume and even put her in touch with some contacts in the art world who might be able to offer her work. Megan initially refused my offer, still insisting that I should help her financially. But after a week of no contact, she called me back and reluctantly accepted my help with her job search. I spent a weekend helping her polish her resume and portfolio website. As we worked together, it felt like old times for a moment. We fell into an easy rhythm, with Megan explaining her recent art projects and me suggesting ways to present them professionally online. It reminded me of the early days of our relationship when we would brainstorm ideas for her art business. While updating her website, I noticed that some of her newer paintings had a darker, more abstract tone compared to her earlier work. When I asked about this change, Megan hesitated before explaining that her art had been influenced by her recent struggles. It was a poignant moment that made me realize how much she had been affected by recent events. I also reached out to a few friends who work in galleries and design firms. One of them, Lisa, 35F, agreed to interview Megan for a part-time position at her gallery. I remembered how Lisa and Megan had hit it off at one of our dinner parties years ago, bonding over their shared love for Impressionist art. I hoped this connection might give Megan an edge in the interview. However, things took an unexpected turn. While I was helping Megan with her resume, I noticed some discrepancies in her work history. She had listed a job at a prestigious gallery that I knew she had never worked at. When I questioned her about it, she got defensive and admitted she had embellished her resume a bit. I was shocked. This wasn't just a small exaggeration, it was a complete fabrication. I told her I couldn't in good conscience recommend her to my contacts with a fake resume. Megan exploded, accusing me of sabotaging her chances and going back on my word to help. The argument that followed brought back memories of our worst fights during our marriage. Megan accused me of never believing in her talent, saying that if I truly supported her, I would understand why she needed to enhance her resume. I tried to explain that lying on a resume was not only unethical but could seriously harm her career if discovered. But Megan wouldn't listen. As her voice rose, I found myself falling into old patterns, becoming defensive and raising my voice as well. It was like we had traveled back in time to the last days of our marriage, rehashing old arguments about career support and mutual understanding. Finally, Megan stormed out, saying she would find a way to manage without my holier-than-thou help. The slam of the door echoed in my apartment, leaving me standing there, feeling a mix of anger, disappointment, and concern. A few days later, I received a series of angry texts from Megan. She accused me of ruining her life, first by divorcing her and now by refusing to help when she needed it most. She even threatened to tell all our friends that I had cheated on her during our marriage, which is completely untrue. These messages brought back painful memories of the worst period of our divorce when rumors and accusations flew back and forth between our friend groups. I had thought we were past all that, and seeing Megan resort to such tactics again was deeply disappointing. I was stunned by her behavior. This wasn't the Megan I knew and had been married to. The Megan I remembered was kind, ethical, and passionate about her art. I began to wonder if there was more going on with her than just financial troubles. After some deliberation, I decided to reach out to Megan's sister, Lily, 28F, whom I had always been on good terms with. During our marriage, Lily had often acted as a mediator during our arguments, helping us see each other's perspectives. I hoped she might have some insight into Megan's current state of mind. When I called Lily, she sounded worried. She revealed some concerning information about Megan. Apparently, Megan had been struggling with some personal issues for a while now. She had lost her job at the art gallery not because of downsizing as she had told me, but because she had been caught stealing small items to sell online. Lily also mentioned that Megan had been behaving erratically lately, spending money recklessly and then panicking about finances. She had asked several family members for loans but refused to explain exactly what the money was for. Lily expressed concern that Megan might be dealing with some form of addiction or mental health issue, but so far, Megan had refused any suggestions of seeking professional help. This information put everything in a new light. While I still believe I made the right choice in not giving Megan money, I'm now worried about her well-being. The Megan that Lily described was a far cry from the woman I had married, the one who used to budget meticulously for art supplies and was always responsible with our shared finances. Lily and I agreed to keep an eye on the situation and encourage Megan to seek help if her behavior continues to be concerning. We reminisced about happier times, family holidays where Megan would sketch portraits of everyone, her excitement when she sold her first painting. It made the current situation feel even more tragic. I'm still processing all of this information and trying to figure out if there's anything else I should do. Part of me wants to reach out to Megan directly, to see if I can help her get the support she needs. But another part of me is hesitant, remembering how our last interaction ended and fearing that my involvement might make things worse. For now, I've decided to take a step back and let Lily take the lead in helping Megan. I've assured Lily that I'm here if she needs any support, but I think it's best if I maintain some distance given the complicated history between Megan and me. This whole situation has left me feeling emotionally drained. I've found myself reflecting on our marriage, wondering if there were signs I missed, things I could have done differently. It's a stark reminder of how life can change and how the people we once knew so well can become almost unrecognizable. I'll update again if anything significant happens. For now, I'm trying to focus on my own life while hoping that Megan gets the help she needs. Update 2. It's been 2 weeks since my last update, and the situation with Megan has escalated in ways I never expected. Last week, I received a call from the local police department. They wanted to question me about some valuable items that had gone missing from my apartment. I was confused because I hadn't noticed anything missing, but when they described the items, my grandmother's antique watch and a few other family heirlooms, I realized they were things I had packed away in storage after the divorce. These items held deep sentimental value for me. The watch, in particular, was a cherished gift from my grandmother on her 80th birthday. I remembered how proud she was to pass it down to me, telling me stories of how it had been in our family for generations. The thought of it being stolen made my heart sink. The officer informed me that these items had been pawned at a local shop, and the transaction was captured on security cameras. To my shock, the person in the footage was Megan. I felt like the ground had dropped out from under me. During our marriage, Megan had free access to our apartment, and she knew the location of my storage unit. She must have used her old key to enter my apartment and take the items when I was at work. As the reality of the situation sank in, a flood of memories washed over me. I remembered the day I had shown Megan these family heirlooms, explaining the history behind each piece. She had been fascinated, especially by the watch, admiring its intricate engraving and asking me to tell her all the stories my grandmother had shared about it. The thought that she had now stolen and pawned these precious items felt like a betrayal of not just me, but of the entire history and trust we had shared. The police asked if I wanted to press charges. I was torn. On one hand, what Megan did was clearly wrong and illegal. It wasn't just theft, it was a profound breach of trust. On the other hand, I couldn't help but remember the good times we had shared and wonder what had driven her to this point. I thought about our wedding day, how radiant Megan had looked as she walked down the aisle, the promises we had made to always support each other. I remembered the countless nights we had spent talking about our dreams, our fears, our hopes for the future. How had we gone from that to this? After much deliberation, I decided to press charges. It was a difficult decision, but I felt it was necessary. Maybe this would be the wake-up call Megan needed to get her life back on track. I hoped that facing the consequences of her actions might push her to seek the help she clearly needed. The next day, Megan was arrested. Lily called me, distraught. She begged me to drop the charges, saying Megan was going through a really tough time and didn't need legal troubles on top of everything else. She revealed that Megan had been diagnosed with depression a few months ago but had stopped taking her medication, believing she could handle things on her own. I explained to Lily that while I sympathized with Megan's struggles, her actions had crossed a line, and there needed to be consequences. I assured her that I didn't want to see Megan suffer, but I believed this might be the push she needed to accept help and make positive changes in her life. News of Megan's arrest spread quickly among our friend group. Opinions were divided. Some supported my decision, saying Megan needed to face the consequences of her actions. Others thought I was being too harsh and should have handled it privately. Tom, the friend who had previously urged me to help Megan financially, called me. He was upset, saying I had gone too far by involving the police. He reminded me of all the times Megan had been there for me, arguing that I owed her more compassion. His words made me question my decision again, bringing back memories of the good times in our marriage. On the other hand, my girlfriend Alexis has been incredibly supportive. When I told her what happened, she listened without judgment and helped me process my conflicting emotions. She pointed out that enabling Megan's behavior wouldn't truly help her in the long run. The whole situation has left me feeling drained and conflicted. I never imagined our post-divorce relationship would deteriorate to this point. I'm trying to remind myself that I'm not responsible for Megan's choices, but it's hard not to feel guilty. I've decided to take a step back from the whole situation for my own mental health. I've told Lily to keep me updated on any major developments, but otherwise, I'm trying to focus on my own life and healing from this ordeal. I'm scheduled to give my statement to the police next week. After that, I suppose the legal process will take its course. I'll update again if there are any significant developments. Update 3, it's been a month since my last update, and I wanted to share the latest developments in this complicated situation. The legal proceedings against Megan moved forward. She was charged with theft and breaking and entering. However, her lawyer managed to negotiate a plea deal. In exchange for pleading guilty, Megan would avoid jail time but would have to complete 200 hours of community service, attend mandatory counseling sessions, and pay restitution for the items she stole. During the court proceedings, some troubling information came to light. It turned out that Megan had developed a gambling problem over the past year. She had been frequenting online casinos and accrued significant debt. This explained her desperate need for money and her erratic behavior. Learning about Megan's addiction put things in a new perspective for me. While it didn't excuse her actions, it helped me understand the desperation that drove her to steal from me. I couldn't help but wonder if I had missed signs of this problem during our marriage, or if it had developed after our divorce. After the sentencing, Lily reached out to me. She thanked me for pressing charges, saying it was the wake-up call Megan needed. Apparently, Megan had finally agreed to enter a rehabilitation program for her gambling addiction. Lily seemed hopeful that this would be a turning point for Megan. I had mixed feelings about this news. On one hand, I was relieved that Megan was getting help. On the other hand, I felt a lingering sadness about how things had turned out between us. I found myself remembering the dreams we once shared, of building a life together, of supporting each other through thick and thin. It was hard to reconcile those memories with recent events. As for me, I've spent a lot of time reflecting on everything that's happened. While I still believe I made the right choices throughout this ordeal, I can't help but feel a mix of emotions, sadness for how things turned out, relief that it's over, and hope that Megan will get the help she needs. This experience has made me realize the importance of maintaining healthy boundaries, even with people we once cared deeply about. It's also reminded me of the unpredictable nature of life and relationships. I've decided to use this experience as a catalyst for positive change in my own life. I've started volunteering at a local community center, teaching basic computer skills to seniors. It's been a rewarding experience and has helped me gain perspective on my own problems. I've also taken steps to better secure my apartment and personal information. It's sad that I had to do this because of someone I once trusted completely, but it's a necessary precaution. My relationship with Alexis has grown stronger through this ordeal. Her unwavering support and understanding have been a source of comfort. We've had many deep conversations about trust, forgiveness, and the complexities of past relationships. These discussions have brought us closer and helped us build a stronger foundation for our future together. As for Megan, I wish her well in her recovery, but I've made it clear to both her and Lily that I need to maintain firm boundaries. Our paths have diverged, and while I hope she finds happiness and stability, that journey is hers to make. I did receive a letter from Megan recently. In it, she apologized for her actions and thanked me for pushing her to get help. She acknowledged the pain she had caused and expressed hope that someday I might forgive her. While I appreciated her words, I'm not ready to respond just yet. I need more time to process everything that's happened. This whole experience has been a stark reminder that life can take unexpected turns, and people can change in ways we never anticipated. It's taught me valuable lessons about setting boundaries, the importance of self-care, and the complex nature of forgiveness. I'm choosing to focus on the lessons learned and move forward with a sense of cautious optimism. While I can't change the past, I can use this experience to shape a better future for myself. Thank you to everyone who's followed this story and offered advice along the way. Your support has been invaluable during this challenging time. I hope my experience can serve as a cautionary tale about the importance of maintaining healthy boundaries and seeking help when needed.